Good day, everyone. Welcome to a new market update. And today we're going to discuss what's next in the markets, as it might be quite confusing for you after the hectic day of yesterday, in which everyone has lost money except the short sellers and the exchanges. But therefore, a small update today. Tonight at 19:30 Central European Time, I'm going to live stream again, and then we're going to discuss all the topics a little bit longer. But right now, a small update. Also, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and like this video if you like the content, and comment if you want to see some special content. So let's get to the charts and let's get to what most likely is going to be happening here. And I've put on the higher time frame chart to see that usually when we are finishing a corrective move, you can see that it ends in a gigantic wick. So we've seen it in March 2020, and the last crash of yesterday is quite similar to the crash of 2020, March 2020, yes, as in the engine started to fail once again. And next to that, the majority of the people were long on exchanges through which the funding was always quite hectic, but also everybody seemed to be interested in trading leverage, expecting the markets to only go up. By that fact, people were actually getting liquidated in the past 24 hours heavily, as everybody was long, and because of that, a cascade of liquidations occurred and the exchanges started to fill, through which people couldn't be trading too much at all. So a big lesson in there, which is if you're new to the markets, have a low time preference, which means that have that long-term horizon in which spot trading is the basics. Warren Buffett became rich by trading spot. And I think the actual strategy of what I'm doing right now is just trading spot, in which you can remain calm and you can't be liquidated, because when you're liquidated, you don't have the option to get it back as it's lost. And by spot trading and by having multiple options in your portfolio while remaining flexible, you have the ability to have different strategies, but also to adapt towards these circumstances. So I've lost money as well. Well, it's not losing money, as I've not been selling. I've used a little of my liquidity, which was tiny, to buy some dips, but I'm still underwater. However, what's most likely going to happen from here? Well, probably in the next few weeks we'll just be gaining it back, given that the market structure didn't shift at all. We've got this correction. I was assuming that we were going towards 38k to 41, which is practically the level that we are on right now. I'm not expecting that we're going even back towards the low again, especially if the weekly is going to close like this. You can see it in March 2020 as well. You can see it on any of those bottoming structures. Where the weekly is going to close, that's probably the area that we're going to have some sideways action. So most likely we are not going to be getting towards that wick again. And then what should you be doing at this stage? Well, first of all, zoom out, which means that you can see that we are still inside a bull cycle. And yes, this correction is way heavier than what we anticipated. But secondly, we also remember from March 2020 that frequently the price doesn't come back to those low levels beneath 30k. So weekly looks quite interesting at this stage. Giant wick, assuming that we're going to have a bottoming construction here, in which those wicks and the giant volume is usually a signal of such a bottoming figure. So what should I want to see in general? Well, based on the weekly, we know that this entire block is an interesting point for longs. We got there, and therefore if I'm looking at the daily, we can also construct a few of those very important resistances that we have. First one, 43k. That's probably the area that we most likely are going to reject from. Second, we've got one around 46 to 47, and we've got one around 49. And then the next one is around 54 to 55. Those are the levels that we have to break through. And given that we had such a big crash, it doesn't seem likely that we are all out of the blue back here inside the new impulse wave. The volatility has to drop down significantly, through which there is most likely a range-bound structure. So when we look at the 1 hour, we can see that we've got a higher low, but this becomes quite complex in this massive um, um, wick structure and volatility to regain or see how this structure is going to end from here. What I'm assuming is that right now we are currently in a resistance zone. We might be breaking back above. So if we take this high, I'm going to assume that we're going to get into this range. Then the daily becomes quite natural and almost a bullish engulfing. And then the actual correction is over. If we do not break this high and we're dropping back down, I'm going to look at anything of this range to see whether we've got a new sideways action here in which the price holds above 35, makes another higher low, and then we start to break above the moving averages and also break above the resistance zone. So that's currently what I'm watching, the two scenarios that I'm looking at. In general, what should you be doing with your altcoins at this stage? Well, not much has changed. Yes, we've got a massive outlier in which many altcoins have been seeing some pain at this stage. But I think we're just going to continue with those. And you can see that most of them, in this case XLM, has closed the candle in a wick. So we've seen many of those wicks happening in the previous period. And after that, the momentum just continues. So if Bitcoin is making that run further up, I'm going to assume that we're going to have altcoins following suit. And we have seen Ethereum. We have discussed the levels that we want to watch for potential entry points. This is the first one that we're getting onto, especially after a vertical move like this. It is not unlikely to have such a correction to bounce to the first level. Second level of interest is around 0.05 Bitcoin. And after that, we can just continuing as even Ethereum against Bitcoin is still in a bullish cycle. So at this stage, I think you should remain calm, avoid leverage, zoom out, just log out a little of social media and move on. And I'll be back tonight to answer all your questions regarding the markets. And don't forget to subscribe. See you again.